You got the potty mouth vibes?
You talk about vibes, right?
Vibes? When do I talk about
You talk
vibes?
vibes all the time.
Am I 12 years old?
You know vibes? Look at this. There's vibes on this t-shirt. We're both vibes. Look at the pink, man. Look at the vibes together.
Hey. They've got animals on their shirts? What's up, big dog? How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
That was a Scottish accent, man. That was pretty good. I'll give you that.
Was it?
Working on it since I saw you.
Yeah, man. I'll do my American one.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, that's it. Shit.
They should have put the.
I didn't know we talked like that.
What's that queen, whatever, what's that queen whatever that road is called. I mean, you got the Sounders there, you got the Mariners there, you got everything else there. It's not very far, right?
It's okay.
Andrew McCart.
Yes, ma'am.
McKeezy in the house.
I've shot a Sounders. I've shot a Sounders game.
I wish they had this whole stadium. I wish they had a huge stadium to have.
Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for hit the like button already. Appreciate it.
They shouldn't, I mean, they use
Yeah, here we are. So we should be running on time. They said. So these peeps should be coming out in the next 10-ish minutes or
they
so.
walk that aisle, whatever. That Sounders.
Man, it's a beautiful scene. As you can see, Ray Flores, if you see the punch on the screen. I would love to. It's a beautiful scene. What's happening? People sing
Well, I know
together and these rare events are cool. Look, that's
it'll be
Miller. Jeff Miller. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you.
I mean, it's better sideline for basketball than basketball.
Like, you would have to think when building everything. You got to think.
What happened? What happened?
I was like, right, sorry. The weather's like gorgeous.
Will you be there? You know what?
I know,
I'm going to
why,
reset this just so that it's more clear. But I'll be right back.
I canceled it an hour and a half
Back
before
there.
because it like was raining on and off out there.
It's the first time I've done this.
Just Dawn, right?
Yeah.
Good to see you again. How are you?
Alright, so Tyson Fury retired.
This is the one. This is the one event I cared about, like with everything. So it's like very
He's also up the rest somewhere else in the Ukraine. So he has some options.
It was much better last year. We got like an uptick and stuff when they officially opened up the borders. And then it was actually a lot better before.
I might mute this because now
So
they're
when it was
playing
in
music.
July, it was a lot stronger.
Just because you guys hear that, and then it's gonna take
It's just a lot.
gonna flag me. So I'm going to mute real quick.
It'll still look good in there.
Probably go turn it down actually. But I'll turn on the music. Turn on the sound.
I would assume. I mean, they'll make sure
You guys are watching.
You announce like day of, or
Alright guys, I'm just muted because we're still playing music. We'll get what we could get today. Appreciate you guys all watching. Thank you. And, what's up, brother? Maybe not. Just kidding. It's coming, but I'm going to mute just because of the music and I'll put put it back on.
were saying McCarthy?
I'm a champ. Huh?
Were you saying that you got Wilder?
Oh, man. That's doing everything. Oh, man.
Hello, Las Vegas. What is going on? It is great to be here for Fight Week as we officially start Fury Wilder #3 this Saturday, right behind me at T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas. I'm Ray Flores, Premier Boxing Champions and TGB Promotions, and alongside from Top Rank Boxing, the lovely and the super talented Christina Poncher.
Thank you. Your check is in the mail. Thank you for that introduction, Ray. We're super excited for all of you that were lucky enough to be able to join us here live, and all the media. Thank you for coming out so early in the week. Ray and I are going to get a chance to talk to both Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury here at the Grand Arrivals, and then open it up to questions for the media that is here in attendance.
And I see a lot of media from all over the world, so before we go ahead and continue, I want to thank the media for joining us wherever you may be coming. I see media from overseas, from all over the United States, and also the fans. Most importantly, if you're a fan, you're excited for Wilder Fury #3, make some noise, Las Vegas!
If you are lucky enough to be in Las Vegas or you're on your way here, there are still some select tickets available to join us right behind us at the T-Mobile Arena on Saturday night. We can watch us live on pay-per-view.
Yes, and if you're watching on the social media pages of PBC or Top Rank Boxing, it's very easy. All you have to do is order on pay-per-view, and you got a variety of options to do so. ESPN Plus pay-per-view or also Fox Sports pay-per-view. Either one of them is sufficient, but make sure you check out the fights. Christina, an all heavyweight pay-per-view.
That's right. 4 fights on the pay-per-view. I believe we have 8 or 9 total on the night. The early prelims will be streamed on PBC and Top Rank's digital platforms. A couple good fights on Fox TV and ESPN TV. And then the 4-fight heavyweight pay-per-view. Let's do this, Ray.
And now let's just meet the fighters as they're ready to go. We were told that they're all set and ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. Now we want to bring to the stage. This man has a record of 42 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 41 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the former WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the Olympic bronze medalist representing Tuscaloosa, Alabama, with a knockout percentage of over 93%. Here is the bronze bomber, Deontay Wilder. It is great to see the bronze bomber Deontay Wilder in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, the bronze bomber himself as he takes on Tyson Fury this Saturday night. Deontay, it is great to see you. We've seen the videos, we've seen the photos. You look in the best shape of your life. How are you feeling as you head into Saturday night's colossal matchup?
I feel great. I mean, I feel amazing. You know, like I said before, we done broke ourselves down. I'm rejuvenated, reinvented, and I'm ready to go. Saturday night is it's going to be a special night. I think the fans are in for a treat, as they always are when the bronze bombers step in the ring.
How much did you miss this atmosphere? Because every time you fight, it's an electric atmosphere, it's wild, it's crazy, and you provide fireworks without a doubt. How much did you miss this?
I missed it a lot, but I think the time that we had off, you know, I think it was well needed as well, you know, to get the body back right, you know, to spend a little bit more time with the family. The world went through something that we are all still going through together, and I think that was time we all needed with the family as well. You know, we worked so hard, you know, so many of us always busy around the world, and you know, I think a lot of the things was well needed, you know, and here we are back again. You know, God has given us ability to come here again and do it one more time, you know, and it's nothing like boxing and having the fans in boxing, you know, some of the best fans in the world.
Your first fight with Tyson Fury was December of 2018. This is nearly a 3-year process of when you guys have been fighting against one another and dealing with promotional entities, et cetera, and, you know, all the contract negotiations. How excited are you to finally close the chapter on this book in the sense that both you and him will move on after Saturday night?
Oh my God, it's been a long time coming, and I can't wait. You know, it's going to be a special moment for me to get back in there and to show the people to reintroduce myself to the world, to show the people what I'm all about. You know, again, I'm very excited. Every time it's the week of the fight, it's always the time where we're like, it's the hardest time because we have to wait. You know, sometimes we get confused what day of the week it is. You know, we're always rushing ahead of the day. I'm like, oh, it's just still Tuesday, or it's just still this and that. You know, but it's gonna be great, man. I'm looking forward to the night. I'm looking forward to the fans and the electrifying. The electricity that's going to be in the arena, you know, all that I miss, and coming out, seeing all my fans, and on this one special night.
Part of that reintroduction is your new trainer, Malik Scott. I've known you for a long time, and I feel like this is the best spiritually and mentally that I've ever seen you over the course of over your 10 years as a prize fighter. Do you believe in that sentiment?
Most definitely. That's 100% correct. You know, one thing about it, Ray, I have all my brothers around me. You know, it's something I never had before. You know, they will come and go. At this point in time, they all is with me. They've been with me from day one, from ever since the last album to now, nonstop. We've been all together. And it's just been beautiful. When I tell people about that four-letter word of love, we have that in this camp. And it's no other place or better place to be than around people that really, really loves you and that has your back, and they can look in your face and they say they love you and really, really mean it. Because there's a lot of people that say they love you, but they don't mean it. But when you know, when I have certain people around me and they tell me that, I don't have to worry. I have no doubts. And it's been a blessing to have so many amazing men around me, amazing women around me, and family all together. And this is what makes this moment even more special, because it's not for me, it's for everyone.
What does two-time heavyweight champion of the world mean to you?
Man, I think I can say a lot right now, but I think once it happens, I'm gonna have a different feeling. So I'm waiting on that feeling to see what it really gonna mean and what I'm really gonna feel. I'm an energy being, so I always react off of my energy of things. So once I receive that and have my hand raised in the sky, and they say two-time heavyweight champion of the world, I can tell you after.
My last question, I know you're big on visualization. I know you're big on manifesting things. On Saturday night, how you see the fight playing out with you and Tyson Fury in your third fight on pay-per-view?
I see me beating them up and then knocking them out. You know, many things that I visualized in the first fight, along with the second. You know, and I didn't execute game plan. But this time around, it's just a different feeling. You know, all the way around. You know, just all the surrounding around me, the atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? Just the energy as a whole. You know, and I'm looking forward to putting on a great performance come October the 9th. You know, and those that's going to be in the arena, they're going to feel the electricity that's in there. And those that can't make it, don't be afraid to click that button on Fox pay-per-view, baby. You don't want to miss it.
You better do it now, so says the Bronze Bomber. Now we're going to open up questions from the media real quick, Deontay. We got a couple of media members who have questions. If we go ahead, and by all means, go ahead and speak. Keith Idek, go ahead.
Deontay, how you doing? How difficult of a decision was it for you to change trainers, being that Jay had been your head guy for so long? And can you tell us what went into that decision for you?
It wasn't a difficult situation at all. I changed trainers soon after the fight. That's how easy it was. And you know, the people that I have on my team, like I said, is filled with love. So we don't step on each other's toes. And if it's certain decision making that needs to be made, we're all game players. We're able to scramble around. And what works for us, we allow it to work for us. And so it wasn't no egos. We don't have big egos in our camp. And that's a special thing about my camp and about my brotherhood that I have with my guys. That what don't fit with one person may fit with the other, and we still work together. If we disagree on something,